Hey everybody, it's me. I figured I would just drop in because I realized I didn't have a video for tonight and that you might actually be looking for one. Um, I know Fridays are normally my night off of reading, but since we finished Beverly of Graustark yesterday and aren't starting a new book until Saturday, well, technically, we're not starting a new book until Sunday. So that kind of leaves us with just a gap. And I figured I would just sit here and we could talk a little bit. How are you guys doing? I had a busy, not busy day, if that makes any sense. I spent a very long time editing my World of Warcraft Tiny Town episode that goes up on Saturday. I'm not done with it yet. I love doing those, but I'm also trying to make them a little bit better. I'm not good at editing, but I'm trying, you know? I also realized as I was doing the editing and even doing the gameplay last night that I really like that series. If you haven't watched it, give it a shot. It's kind of fun. At least I'm having fun with it, which means I'm going to continue doing it because I'm having fun. I'm having enough fun that I was like, I wonder if I should do two of these a week, but I don't know. That's just a thought in the back of my head because when I'm playing, I don't want to stop, especially not when it's a better episode for the character this week than last week was. They had a better time, which is good because last week I don't think I've ever had so many things go wrong for one of my Sims characters in the span of a couple of hours of gameplay in ever. It was I felt for him. I felt for the poor character. But this week I think things are a little bit better. So that was fun. But I did that, and then my son and I went out and shoveled the driveway because, of course, we had to. It snowed not much. We got like 3 inches of snow, but it warmed up a little bit, and that is, in and of itself, a wonderful thing. And then, did all the regular stuff, made lunch, watched the birds, etc., and so on. But yeah. And then I was sitting there and I was like, what should I do tonight? And I was like, I haven't read yet. And then I remembered that I hadn't read yet because we finished Old Beverly, which I really enjoyed that book. I did not enjoy Aunt Fanny, and I think I've gone on and on and on enough about Aunt Fanny's depiction in the book. And I think the biggest tragedy of that character is it wasn't a necessary character. It was probably not put in to be mean-spirited, but they did Aunt Fanny dirty. But other than that, the book was fun. And finding out that it was actually one of a decently long series definitely makes me want to maybe find a few more. I mean, I don't think I could sit down and read them back to back to back to back, especially if they are, as Georgia pointed out, kind of formulaic. But every now and then sprinkled in, it is fun. It's like Lisa in the comments commented that it's light and bright and fizzy like a soda pop. It's like a little bit of candy or a little bit of pop music. You don't want it all the time, but every now and then it's refreshing. So that is kind of what I thought. I'm really looking forward to watching the movie on Saturday because I have read a little bit of the synopsis of the movie, and we'll have to see when we're watching it. But it kind of sounds like maybe they took some of the first book and the second book and just sort of melded them together. At least that's kind of what I'm getting the vibe just from the little tiny bits that I've read of it. So I'm looking forward to it, and I hope to see you there. It also is looking right now, granted things can change and they can change really quickly, but it is looking like we're going to be journeying to the center of the earth come Sunday, which is cool because I know I've read something by Jules Verne, but it was back in maybe 6th or 7th grade, probably 7th grade. So that was a very long time ago. Such a long time ago, and I don't really remember anything about it. But the fact that I remember actually reading a Jules Verne book kind of indicates to me that I enjoyed it, because so many of those books that were assigned to me back then, I didn't really read. You kind of just read the Sparks notes or just skim through, just pick up enough to actually pass the test and call it good. Which is funny because I was also the kid that read the dictionary because there was nothing else to read. And for me to say that I quit a book or that I just didn't want to read it at all, that's saying something. And that was a lot of the books that were assigned to me, and I don't know if that was just me being a defiant little brat kid, or if maybe I just didn't like them for a legitimate reason. I guess what I'm saying is I might have to actually see if Hemingway and like The Great Gatsby and some of those other books that I was supposed to read and just didn't. Maybe I'm wondering if maybe I should give them another shot as I was going to say old lady, but as a much older individual, and see if maybe I like them better. Now that I'm not being told that I have to read them and being told how I am supposed to interpret what I'm reading. I think the biggest thing when I was in school is I didn't like feeling preached at or talked down to. And a lot of those books, I guess they felt pretentious. Like, I read a little tiny bit of The Great Gatsby before I decided that it just was not the book for me and I was just going to read the Sparks notes. I read, what were the other ones that we were supposed to read? So many of them I just ignored. In fact, it wasn't until high school when I was able to pick my own classes, and I picked an elective that personally I thought was the best elective on earth, and that was fantasy lit. And at that point, I was already really into fantasy books, so fantasy lit was right up my alley. What did we read? I don't think we read the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy, but I know we read The Lord of the Rings, which I had already read so many times by then. We read, I think, The Wizard of Earthsea, and there was one more book I think that we read in fantasy lit, and I was just in my element. And that was a good class. I think more classes should be like that. And I think they're expanding, because I remember being told by some kids back when I lived in Tennessee that they were being assigned to read stuff like The Black Stallion and that. And I was like, ooh, I wish I would have been assigned to read The Black Stallion as a kid. I would have definitely had more to enjoy back in English class. So, here's to progress. I would say that's progress. But yeah. Anyway, this was just a quick little video just letting you know that I didn't forget you, and I do like to keep up my 2 videos a day thing. So, I guess that's about it though. Anyway, if you have any suggestions for other books that I should keep my eyes peeled for that are in the public domain, drop them in the comments below. I can't guarantee I'm going to find them all because most of the time I am going to used bookstores and thrift stores and just seeing what I can find. But things that you think that I might enjoy. Also, if you can think of anything that's in the public domain that would be considered fantasy or sci-fi, I would love to read that. I think that's the reason I'm so excited for Jules Verne, is because that's kind of fantasy sci-fi, and that's mostly right up my alley. Unless, of course, we get Dickens, in which case, I remember reading, I think I read A Tale of Two Cities around the same time I read Jules Verne, and I think I enjoyed that one. I don't think I read any other Dickens, but I think I enjoyed that one. So, anyway, don't forget to vote for the 3 books that are in the poll so that we know exactly what we are reading come Sunday. I'm going to close out and announce which book wins probably at the end of my live stream. I'll just check in on the post and finalize it. But don't forget to vote for which book you would like to hear next week. Wow, next week. And everybody stay warm, stay safe, and I will see you later.